room today because these next 30 minutes we're going to hit hard with that topic because that's a topic that I really feel like women, we have a hard time discussing. We kind of start shrinking per se, and the more we shrink, the less we attract it, right? So we got to be bigger about this subject. Yes, please. We need to be bigger about this subject and really be confident about it. So by the showing of the raise of your hands, how many of you have been in business less than 1 year at this moment? Less than 1 year. Okay, all right. More than 5 years. All right, anyone more than 10 years? Okay, so it's a lot of majority between 1 and 5 in this room, then it looks like that's the representation. Okay, how many of you are making consistently $10,000 or more a month? You feel really confident about that, you're doing good consistently with that. Anyone, okay? Anyone over 5,000 a month? You feel like you're consistently making and earning that, okay? And then who's over 2,000 a month? Okay, got it. All right, so now we're at about 2,000 or less a month on average consistently in this room. Great, thank you so much for sharing that because then it helps me to give you all great information today so that you can start implementing it immediately and get to the results that you want in your business. So let me grab my deal here. Did you all know that there's clicker apps out there now? Like I was so pumped about that last night. I was like, really? I can click from my phone. So this is my first time using it though, so we'll see how I do. But today we are going to be discussing several things, and I want to make sure that I'm clear about who this class is for this afternoon. This is for coaches, consultants, service providers. So is that a representation in this room? You're some type of expert, coach, consultant in your business, and you are not making, you're not making at least $10,000 more a month. And I did see there was obviously by the hands raising that we know that the majority are not at this moment. You are heart-centered, meaning that you have a bigger mission, a movement that you are called and feel led to distribute to this world to make impact. You have a goal to build a legacy. You just don't want to exchange your time for money, right? Am I representing the people in this room today? Just want to make sure. And then you're seeking time and money freedom, right? So you want to travel, you want to have more time with your family. You don't want to just burn yourself out with a business, right? No one wants to work 60, 70, 80 hours a week in their business and don't have anything to show for it, okay? So that's really my mission, to ensure that my queens, which I call all my ladies queens, I actually call all my women tenacious queens, and I want to ensure that you all have these ideas here to move forward in your business. So heart-centered entrepreneurs is really just, the things that you want to do, or what do you want is, impacting the world with your mission. You want to transform lives, change lives. You want to maybe leave your 9 to 5. So who's still working their 9 to 5 right now simultaneously? That's all right. I've done that before too. I know how that feels. Okay, it's good. And then we kind of talked about a few of those other things. And what I realized based on the women that I have served, and I've had the honor of serving more than several women, 100 at this point, or since November, specifically on the art of authentic selling. And I'm learning that the confidence to show up unapologetically is something that's holding us back as women. There's clarity that we need regarding our packages, our services, and we need to figure out the system so that we can produce lucrative business profits in our business. So let me just give to you here who I am. I keep clicking it too fast. But I want to give you an introduction, okay? So I started off as an online entrepreneur in 2012. So I know you just heard me say 7 months that I've been focusing on the art of selling. I've done some pivots. How many of you have done some pivots already in your business? Yes. I started off as a health coach, okay? I had lost a significant amount of weight, lost 65 pounds, kept it off. And everybody was like, man, Erica, you look great. I want to look like that too. I said, oh, okay, let's figure something out. I don't know. So I started giving tips and tricks to friends and family members, and they started losing all this weight. I was like, wait a minute, okay, this is actually working. Could I monetize this? And then I just started thinking about ways to develop packages, and I started my business literally just like that. Then I pivoted over to more empowerment coaching because my husband and I, and he's actually in here somewhere, I don't even know where he's at right now, but he was in here. We've been married for 15 years at this moment, and unfortunately, we've been dealing with a lot of infertility issues. We've had 5 miscarriages. We've been through everything you could think of that you Google to try to get pregnant. I've done it all. We've done it all. And it's been a long journey. And so I started empowering women around that subject, not specifically to get pregnant, but more so to be resilient. right? To push past when you don't get the things that you want in life, to, do those things. So I kind of pivot to that. But then as I was empowering women, I realized I'm attracting all these entrepreneurs that is struggling to stand in their power in their business. And that is when it hit me, is that I've always gotten clients. I've never not had clients. Even when I said, oh, let me just create a package and help people. Boom, I started making $7,000 a month within months, right? And I didn't realize that until I started talking to a lot of other entrepreneurs. They're like, I don't make money like that. What do you mean? What are you talking about? That's not easy to me. And I'm like, really? It's not? I'm like, this is so easy to me. And that's when I became the business coach of the art of authentic selling to help women do that. So I've been publicized and all these things that you can see. You see some pictures over here to prove that at one point in time I was much larger and things like that. But what I've been doing since November specifically is Tenacious Queen Academy. And it's a mission around making sure that no queen is left behind. Making sure that no woman ever has to deal with lack. She doesn't have to deal with poverty, because I watched my mom work her butt to the ground with 2 jobs, making $200 a week, and I watched all of that. And I just can't see my queens no longer live like that, right, ladies? Right? Don't you all want an overflow of abundance in your bank account? Right? Overflow. So that's why you're here today, right? So I'm going to give you some information on how to do that. My motto around Tenacious Queen Academy is making sure that you first embody the selling mindset, okay? Because we all are selling. I'm selling you this information today. Money is not always the exchange of selling. It's really concepts. It's your thoughts. It's your truth. It's you being unapologetic about a certain topic. And that's what I want to help you all do. And then you get an expert platform. And I'll talk about that today on ways that you can get out there and show up and be an authoritative figure in your industry. And then it's a way that I help my ladies have those warm leads that can convert over to enrolling their clients, paying clients to have that overflow, right? But what I've noticed in some research is that only 1% of womenpreneurs are actually thriving. This is off a Forbes article, magazine, about a year and a half ago I read this, and I'm thinking, 1%? Are you kidding me? And I really feel like it's because we just don't know how to sell as a unit. We just don't feel confident. Men who out there, they throw those numbers out there, they don't even think about it. We think about their babies, we're thinking about their bills, we're thinking about how they feel, we're thinking about, oh my God, am I showing up enough? Do I got enough value to give to them for these dollars? Like, we think about all this stuff, and it gets in our way of monetizing. And what I want to do here is just talk to you a couple of things of what ignited me from this Oprah presentation that she did when she received her reward. And there were some quotes that she said that was like, wow, speaking your truth is the most powerful tool we have. Also, she said, bringing up some work, that far too long women have not been heard or believed. Our time is now. A new day is on the horizon. And that is why you all are sitting here today. And that's why this room is filling up, because women are realizing I have more to offer to this world, and I should be monetizing what I'm offering to this world every single day. Now, the problem though is all of our horrible experiences with selling, right? Right? Okay, the car salesman, the cell phone people, telemarketers. I mean, how many of you can just easily remember a bad experience and you're just like, oh God, shut up, leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you, stop calling me, stop pressuring me. And it does come off sleazy and pushy and gimmicky. And that's one of the reasons why we're like, oh, I don't want to be like that person. I don't want to be like them. But what I want to teach you today is that authentic selling can be fun, fluid, and fulfilling, okay? It could be the way that you connect with your audience. It's the way that you are showing your credibility out there of the truth that you're speaking. It's the inspiration. I use my infertility story a lot. Maybe it has nothing to do with my making money in my business, but it does help me connect with people at a different level. I get inboxes all the time like, oh my God, I struggle with infertility too, and blah, 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 and it just builds a relationship. That's what this is all about. And it's about empowering anyone, men or women, whoever you serve in your capacity with your brilliance. But today we're going to talk about the 5 pillars that master the art of selling. So it's an acronym that I've created. Can't Google this anywhere. This is my acronym, trademark acronym, but it is a pitch. It's really the way you can stand in your powerful pitch. And the way you can do that is positioning yourself, making an impact, the timing that we're going to talk about today, the clarity, and staying with evidence, ladies?
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. So great. Let's start with the first one, positioning. Positioning is all about positioning yourself as an authoritative figure in this scope, in this industry. But the problem is that we live in a nation that our minds are so full, right? It's so full, it's so confusing, right? It's so saturated out there. And so instead of being mindful, we're being full, right? Like, you know what I mean? And the thing is that it stagnates us. It prevents us from showing up in our own truth because we see everybody out there doing this, doing that, doing whatever, and we don't have a way. So I urge you to try to clear your mind as much as possible, kind of stay in your lane, basically, right? And really focusing on those things because clear minds make more money. And the way that you can start clearing that path is by connecting with yourself more, okay? Connecting with yourself. So I am a mixture of woo-woo, sass, whatever you want to, I mean, it's all types of things I hear, right? Because people don't expect that I can go from the strategies mindset, but then I can go straight into that coaching realm and telling you how to get some crystals or some healing or some Reiki or some EFT or some whatever in your life to connect with yourself more. So it's important to find those ways, what meditation, prayer, whatever that way is to connect, because the more you connect with yourself, the more you're going to connect with your soul client. Not just anybody, your soul client. You're going to feel something there that's going to be different. When you talk to them, when you serve them, you're going to get off the phone and you're like, woo! And then when you get off the phone with people that's not really your soul client, you're like, oh my God, please go away. Why are you here still? I don't even want your money. All right, just go. All right, really? Right? Okay, some of you have had some bad clients before, right? In this room, right? I know I'm not the only one, right? Okay. But I've had some amazing clients too because I more and more connect with myself to connect with them. But the thing is that I really want you to take in today is to stop trying to sell information, okay? Sell transformation. I don't care if it is you're a graphic designer in this room. You're selling a transformational experience for them to rebrand themselves, to take their image or branding to the next level. If you're a relationship coach, you're obviously helping them transform their lives so that they can connect with their soulmate. Or if there's health coaches in here or anyone else, you know, whatever you are as a coach, expert, or consultant, it's important for you to sell the transformational experience of that. It will make your life so much easier. You wouldn't feel overwhelmed with it anymore because all you're doing is focusing on helping another life change, okay? But I want to give you examples. So I'm going to be giving you four examples today. I'm really big about evidence. Those that follow me online, they know I show evidence all the time. Some people take it as bragging. I take it as evidence. Evidence is the proof to you that it can work for you too, right? When you see stories like this, you're going to be like, oh my God, it is possible. Because sometimes we think things are not possible, but it is. So I spoke to Victoria some months back in the fall sometime. She's a business coach for single moms. She came to me really frustrated and just lost with what her process was. I helped her position herself. Remember, we're still on the P right now. I helped her position herself in a way that they can connect with the people in a more authentic way. And after that 90-minute call, ladies, she had made $12,000 the next day. All because she really connected. She said, oh, I am the soul client. Because that was one of our biggest conversations. She didn't know how to reach these women, but I helped her see that you are the soul client. You are the single mom out there trying to, make it happen and elevate yourself. And when she connected with that, just in that self, she went out there and sold 2 pay in full packages and started filling up her membership program. So sometimes it could be as little as that, ladies. Somebody in this room need to connect more with herself so that they can get out there and start selling. So let's go over to the next one, impact. All right, impacting the world with your message. And the way, you gotta find ways to impact. And the thing is when it comes to what I call the unique selling proposition, the USP, is think about it like this. Your soul clients are out there, okay? For all of us, we all have a soul client. And whatever problem that they have right now, they're freaking drowning in it, okay? And the only person that can help them is you. Nobody else. They can see any other business coach out there. They can see any other health coach out there, relationship coach, consultant, expert, but they really won't fully connect and get to that transformational experience until they see you. But the only way they can see you gotta show up. Like, you can't sit behind the curtains and thinking that, man, where's my clients at? Get out there. And the way that I want to help you today getting out there is becoming an authoritative figure via some of these ways. Creating your own platforms to be seen. We are in a very awesome time with technology right now that you can, you don't have to wait to get a speaking gig no more. You can say, you know what, I'm gonna start my own Facebook Live show on Fridays and I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna keep talking. And then more and more people will grasp to you and they will hear your message. But you have to get out that uncomfortable zone right now and really embrace the being uncomfortable part and show up and let people see you through master classes, webinars, maybe providing a demo to them, case studies. You know, all these things, these icons here is the ways that you can show up every single day in your message, but you have to get past the blocks in your mindset that's stopping you from doing that. And so I wanted to talk to you about how to position yourself here. So think about in terms of when you are actually going out there to make this impact, sometimes we get so overwhelmed that we're trying to do too many things. So who in this room is a multipreneur, like multi-passionatepreneur actually? Yes, I am too, actually, right? I have a lot of hats to me, but I have to stay in my lane and I have to stay focused on the selling piece, and then I let the other layers of Erica come out in the VIPs or other programs and such like that. Now, what I mean by that is try to look at the people that's already following you right now. And then, like I said right here, who are the 20% of the 80% that's following you? So take that smaller niche down. I know people, the multi-passionatepreneurs, hate hearing that. Because they're like, well, I don't want to just focus on one thing. But you may have to just to get out there, though. Get out there, be known. Then you can start throwing out layers and things, and because you already have a tribe, you have an audience. But if no one's listening to you right now, you have to pick one lane to focus on until you get that traction. I promise you, it always works. Okay? So pick the 20% and then go to the next layers like that and find out, you know, what are they concerned about? What are their frustrations? How can you take them to that next level? So let's talk about Corletta, because that was exactly her problem. She is a minister. She has a mission around those preaching women. And what she did, she came to me and she was like, well, Erica, I want to focus on empowering women to be connected with their fathers more. I want to empower little kids and teenagers to do this. And I want to, you know, I'm a preacher, I'm a bishop over all these churches. I'm like, what is going on here? So what we did, we figured out one little lane to actually encourage women to become preachers in the pulpit and to just develop a membership program from that. And after that, within 4 weeks, we had got 200 paying clients. $47. You do the math for a moment there. $7,000, right? $8,000 of residual income that she got in 1 month just because she just focused on something versus trying to do everything she wanted. Now she's starting to shift because it's been about 6 months now. She's starting to shift over to the things with the Father's Day piece. Father's Day is on its way, so now she's shifting to the help the girls with their fathers and etc. You know what I mean? But the thing is that we had to first get her to focus. So maybe that's something for one of you in this room today too, is picking one little layer of what you love and then grow from that so that you can grow your bank account balance as well. Now let's go over to the third one. And how's my timing doing? Can someone tell me what time it is, please? Oh, I forgot I have a phone in my hand. See, I forgot already. But timing, number 3 is timing. So let's think about that here, because that's what reminded me, right, when I heard timing. But timing is everything. Timing is so critical when you're out in the social media world. Not just the timing of posting social media-wise, but even strategically creating your packages. Like what I just said with Corletta, she's created a package now because Father's Day is on its way, right? So she has something strategically around that setting and this environment of what's going on. So start thinking about in terms of when is those bigger points for your industry, your niche. Where are those highs on that? You know, a lot of you have products and such. Sometimes that Christmas blitz, you know, around October, November and such can be the biggest points where you can make the most money. Business coaches, health coaches, same thing. The first year, the last month of the year or the first month of the year is typically the biggest money makers for those industries. So start thinking about creating themes for that. We're going into summer, so start thinking about what are people thinking about in the summer that's associated with your actual niche, so that you can start creating some packages around that for your industry. So let's talk about this here. You're free to take a picture of this for sure, but this is the process that I want you to start thinking about timing as well, is that there's a sales process timing that's critical. And if you skip any of these things in here, it's really hard to sell someone on anything that you may have. And I promise you, it's really tough. Give it a try, you'll see what I'm saying. But what you need to do is, I'm going to go around this really quickly and explain these, but it starts at the top in market research. a child. You have to know them that deep, that connected, and you can really connect with them. The pitch is obviously what we're talking about right now, making sure we're going through that process, building the pipeline, all right? So thinking in terms of what can I do on a daily, weekly, monthly basis to get people in my connection. What I do, I actually still to this day, even though I have people on my team that's hired that helps me, I still go in people's inboxes and I just randomly inbox people. 3 to 5 people a week, just randomly. How are you doing? How can I support you? What is it that you need? You know, and I do it via my Facebook group page. How many of you have Facebook group pages, like personal tribe pages? It's a great way to connect with your people. A lot of people think that they need just only a business page, Facebook page, but I highly encourage you to get a tribe page so that you connect even tighter. Those Facebook business pages, the visibility on that, the algorithms on that is so low because they want you to pay for those ads, right? How many of you have ever paid for ads before? Facebook ads. They get quite expensive, right? Quite expensive. I try not to use them, actually, honestly. I've done everything organically by just inboxing people, and it really, really, really works, I promise you. Establishing authority, which we kind of talked about already, and overcoming the objections. We'll talk about that towards the end. We're going to get to that very quickly on that, and then closing the sales and retaining your clients. So always having a back end. So when you get a client, making sure that they have the next step. Just it's not over there. It's not over just at that program or that service or that VIP package. It's what can they do after this? Maybe throw them in a membership program or something like that. Help them keep the momentum. Think about it like that. It's a mindset shift. At first I felt really gimmicky about it, but when I started thinking about it, is that they've gotten this much information, but they're gonna need more. They always need more information. So think about what you can do for their next steps as well. So let's talk about Felicia, because one of her things was timing issues as well. And she's a health and wellness coach. And she came to me after 3 years of circles, ladies. Think about this. 3 years, 3 business coaches, $0. Can you imagine how frustrated she was? Like she's like, and she invested thousands, okay, in her business coaching, not, some, side hustles, like 5 or more thousand each package. And the thing is that 1 month later, after we just developed that we went through that whole sales process and really created her systems, she was able to get clients after that, like 3 years of circles. Can you imagine the weight that was lifted off her shoulders? Her boyfriend was like, oh, finally. Like, okay, like after you invested 15 grand or more. So it was really important for her to get that. And for some of you, maybe your timing is off. Maybe you're jumping past things. You're not doing the full research, and then you're trying to jump over into offering a program, and then you're trying to jump over and create the retention. Try to follow that process. I hope you took a picture of it today, and try to see ways that you can really go through that step by step and ensure that you close those deals and retain your clients on the next level. Now let's go over to clarity. You got about 8 minutes, 9 minutes. So clarity is really important. This is what comes down to the pieces that we were saying with the market research. So this is going to break it down for you a little bit more. But do you really know your client? Like really know them? Like how I said, do you feel like you know your client, like your significant other or your child? Do everyone in this room really feel like they do? Like they truly know them? Okay, maybe or maybe not, right? But these are some questions maybe to take a picture of and take home and think about this and write it out. What does he or she lay awake thinking about it? These are deep questions that your client, you need to know for your client at all times. What are those keywords that trigger them in a good or a bad way? When people purchase something, it's all emotion. It's nothing to be embarrassed about. We all buy stuff because of emotions. We just feel like, oh, nice, swipe. It's just this is what we do. So you have to help them and cultivate that process and knowing the words that trigger them. And what would happen if they don't get this problem solved? And do you believe that you're the best solution for them? Do you all believe that you're the best solution for your client in this room? The best solution? And I know it's hard to say that, right? You sound like you're being arrogant, right? You sound like you're like, well, I'm not better than that person. But you should feel like you are the best for your client at all times, because that will sell in itself, that energetic exchange as well. So let's talk about Stephanie, because that was her issues with the confidence. This is the last one, case study here. But she came to me and she said, Erica, I want to write a blog. And I said, what are you going to write a blog about? She wants to talk about personal styling and how she connected with that with her as a child. And she just didn't know no direction on what to do from that. And so we started building those mechanisms on really connecting with herself, going through that whole process, but building that confidence that you are a great solution for your client. Because she kept like, well, I see all these, high-end other experts and such, and I'm not nowhere near like them. It's just, I loved it from a child, and it's just out of personal interest. I don't see how I can monetize it. I said, oh, honey, you can monetize it. And so we started talking about that, and we went from thought to monetization. Literally no clue. She did that. She did take some time now because she had a lot of mindset blocks. It took 6 months for her to start getting a client because she just had this, it was layers. And some of you are in this room, you got so many layers from childhood, adult aspects. There's things that we can work through and talk through and layers that maybe you're like Stephanie, where it may take a little longer time, but it will pay off after you put that work in on the front end of your engagement and such. So let's lastly go over to heart. And heart of that is really just showing up every day. And it gets really hard to show up every day, don't it? Some of you in here have kids, significant others, jobs, other families. Some people are taking care of family members, whatever it may be. It's like really, truly hard. And it's like really, it has to be from the heart of what you're doing and why you're doing it. Because if it doesn't, it's going to be so like mundane and like this methodical like movement. You're like, oh God, let me just go make this post today. Hopefully somebody will see this post today. Hopefully somebody will click this button today. But it's really, you have to have a bigger movement. And you have to know that you are selling. You have to embrace the selling aspects of this. And then you have to follow up, follow up, follow up. How many of you have a hard time following up with people? Golly. Don't it feel annoying? Don't you feel like you're annoying someone? Yes. It's so annoying. But the thing is that it's imperative to follow up. Okay? Follow up like you have a cure to a disease for this person. Think about it like that. That's a mindset shift right there, right? Because when I told myself that, I said, well, I'm going to follow up because if I had a cure to a disease, I wouldn't just sit on my butt and put my fingers under there. I would be like shouting like, hey, I have the solution for you. You need this so bad, okay? So think of in terms of how connected are you to the mission and making sure that you're pressing it out there as much as you need to ensure that people hear you. Because sometimes it takes 3 to 5 times for people to even hear you online, unfortunately. But let's go over to determining the price point really quick because I am down to 5 minutes. And the thing is that just think about it in terms of just being careful of your energy when it comes to money. The price point, think about in terms of how can you develop the price points that you feel connected to. You do not have to put a price point on that somebody else put a price point on. You have to really analyze, and I go through a whole process with my clients on how to break it down so that you are connected to the price versus copy and pasting someone's price point. You have no clue why they even develop that price in the first place. So just always be connected to the price point, examining why you're charging what you're charging to do that. And then being the client that you want to attract. So making sure that you know that your vibe attracts your tribe. So don't expect freebies, don't expect people, don't think that that you gotta lie about things or change subjects or delay things. Like when people are selling to you and you're like, oh, I don't want to hear it. Guess what? You're going to get those type of people too in your life as well. So try to just be the client that you are seeking for yourselves. And then I wanted to just really just give you all some information on how to continue to maybe reach out. I wasn't able to go over the objections, but there are ways that actually take a picture really quick. Yeah, take a picture, please.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, if you take a picture of this is just really explaining to you some things that people do say no to, right? Or the reasons why they say no. And this can maybe give you some insight on that. You can go on YouTube. I actually have a YouTube video about this as well and about closing discovery calls. So you can go out there and check that out as well for free to get more information on it. But if you wanted to basically just learn more and move forward and just try to get more clarity about your business, you can always go to my website and set up a free strategy call. ericastepto.com is free. The value is $4.97, and I urge you to create a value for yourselves as well, which I'll help you do that if you haven't. Or you can join in the Tenacious Queens Unite group, where we're always doing challenges and we're doing all types of engagement and things, just so that we can stay united together and making sure that no queen is left behind in this movement. So I think I got about 3 minutes for questions. If someone has any questions, any thoughts, or anything that you would like to share with me today before we end. Someone said go back to, I don't know which page. That one. Yes.
How do you make like a system to handle with your system?
Yeah, so like creating the system to follow up. So what I do is I actually have a spreadsheet. So when I actually have someone that's maybe interested in something, maybe you're like out and about, you're like exchanging cards, and you find someone at a grocery store, whatever the case may be, take a picture of the card. Don't put the cards in your purse, that's what I do. I take a picture of it, and then I'll add it to a spreadsheet, and I'll keep track of, like, who did I follow up with, what was their response, because of course you don't want to follow up a million gazillion times, right? There is a point where you just, you know that, you would just know energetically. You're like, this person's not interested, but you would just kind of do that. So spreadsheets would be a great way to kind of do that and keeping that system going. I think I saw a hand over here first. Yes.
So let's say you're starting your business out and you're determining your prices,
Mhm.
but you haven't really connected with any of the potential customers just yet.
Yeah.
Is it best to offer discounts or start out with your original price?
Great question. Great question. I got 1 minute to answer that question. That'll be the last question here this afternoon, and that is so awesome of a question. I do not recommend that you discount, right? But it's up to you. So sometimes you can do some pro bono work at the beginning to get testimonials. You can do maybe slight incentives just because it is a pilot program or a pilot servicing, just to get the pipeline going, to get the testimonials, because the testimonials is your evidence. It's the proof that you are credible for the work that you do. So you can choose to discount it, you can choose to do it for free, but immediately, like take 2 or 3 of those and then try to get to the level where you're at, because that's the problem with us ladies. We shortchange ourselves too long. We think we gotta stay in that new bubble forever, and we never get to decide to charge $5, $6, $8, $10,000 for packages. Okay, so hopefully this has been helpful for all of you. I'm so glad that you're here. Take my card, connect with me on Tenacious Queens Unite group, and I hope you all have a fantastic afternoon.